Howdy, howdy. Howdy. Like I'm from Texas. Oh, wait, I am. Hi, you guys. Let's get a little color on it. Let's. Really important professional things to do. Hey, Allison Crow here, your favorite life coach. And we have a saying in Soulful Success that soulies know there are three things. This came up yesterday. So I was wondering if you know your three things. I'm going to tell you in a minute more about that. But obviously, if you haven't noticed, I'm a rather emotional and fluctuating human being. And I love that about me. I am somebody who engages in mind, body, spirit, life, politics. I like to be involved in life. And making the choice to be involved in life can be both exhilarating and powerful and overwhelming at times. I shared a post earlier this week about recognizing some signs of the distinction between depression and anxiety. And a lot of people really resonated with it. A lot of people I know, very functional, amazing human beings, live and work and love with both anxiety and depression. And so today I wanted to share this concept of three things. And I don't know how, well, let me put it this way. My colleague and friend, Rebecca Ching, had done a series on her Instagram stories about over-functioning as an expression of anxiety. And I asked her about under-functioning, because my go-to when I'm stressed or overwhelmed is to slow down and often shrink. And I had another fascinating conversation with a colleague of mine named Brenda Terry, who is an NLP expert. And Brenda Terry and I were talking, and she said, when you do nothing and wait for the world to happen to you, it creates a neuro pattern of inactivity in your brain. And so it is interesting, if you are somebody who is in transition, if you are in the transition between energy and no energy, in the transition of making something new happen or waiting for something to happen. And I know that a lot of my clients at times, I have had clients, I had a client that had a double mastectomy yesterday. I had a client last week that lost her son. I have a client that lost her partner this year. I have clients that are hospicing their parents. Like, y'all, real life happens on top of your life and business and partnerships and marriages and these kind of things. And so there can be a number of things that can kind of cut us off at the knees, and it sends our body into traumatic stress response, AKA anxiety and depression. And so whether you've been diagnosed or not, there is a concept of clinical and circumstantial. And I think there is not a human being in the earth that escapes from time to time circumstantial events that can overwhelm us. And so we have a concept of soulies know their three. And this is an idea that I came up with. When you know your three and business is slow, when you know your three and you're anxious and overwhelmed, when you know your three and you feel like throwing in the towel, all you have to do is one of your three. And so this is outside of regular self-care. I mean, I'm a big advocate of meditation and prayer and journaling. I'm a big advocate of filling your brain with good stuff. And if you're like me and tend to watch the news and get engaged in politics, you've really got to clean that shit out of your brain. You've got to do your thought work on it, and you've got to complement it with twice as much good stuff filling in your brain. Social media can be very both engaging and awesome, but it can also be like it quietly sends off the comparisonitis. And so there's a number of different things. I don't know what is your version of kind of stalling out? And if you stall out, then maybe business stops, or emotional or physical intimacy with your partner stops, or your kids still have to be taken to soccer practice, whatever it is. And so even if you don't know where you're going or you don't know what to do, if you know your three, and for me, my three relate to business because business is my biggest baby. Business supports me. I support my business. I support 65 people right now in my business. When my business is working, I know that I am working. I work and my business works. And so even if I need to rest, even if I need to have an emotional day off, one of the things that I can do instead of curling up in a cave and dying, like sometimes we feel like doing, is I can do one of my three. And so I have three things. This also translates. So not only does this work for kind of emotional stalls of everyday life, but it also works for business stalls. So if you have a business stall, this could also translate into relationships, if you have a partner or a spouse. So if I'm feeling off, one of the ways that I cope with feeling off is I kind of go into my little cave, which is not always useful. And so I have three things that I know that work for me. Every time I do one of these three things, I raise my vibes, I raise my energy, and it also sets motion. Hi, Susan. It sets motion in my business. And so one of my clients used the phrase, pray while walking. So we don't just sit and wait for the universe to come to us. We work together with the universe. And so my three are this. Now this is, I'm really good about taking care of myself. I get up every day, I get dressed. My husband even was like, you look all cute today. And I was like, I get up, I get dressed. I put on my makeup. Just because I work from home does not mean I'm yoga gal. That's just not my preference. But my three are, number one, love on my people. So number one, find somebody to love and serve. And so this week I had an unusually not full week, and I had some extra space on my calendar, and I was starting to feel a little funky and a little drained from all the political stuff that's going on. And I looked at my calendar and I had a spot. And so I tossed what I called an open call for my clients. We have certain scheduled calls, but I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing a call tomorrow at this time if you want to come. And so I put myself in a place of service, and instantly my energy changed. The second thing of one of my three, and like I said, these three are business related. I obviously have, take my supplements, do my best to eat well, exercise my body, meditate and journal and listen to good stuff. Those things are a given. They're habitual. They happen almost every single day for me. But these things are the things that when I stall out, when I get in fight or flight, or when I get cocoony, if I will just take one of these steps, it helps gently keep things moving forward so that I don't stall out. So my second one is get face to face with another human being. So go to lunch with somebody, go to a networking party, those kind of, not networking party, but like be with my girlfriends. I live in a suburb out in the country, so I'm not really walkable anymore. Oftentimes it will go 2 or 3 days without me leaving the house, except for maybe to take the dogs running or drive around the neighborhood. And so I have to remember I don't have an office anymore. And so I'm actually actively looking for more ways to get out of the house. So getting face-to-face with community. And my third one is to go live with you guys. Every time I go live, even if I don't know what to talk about, I start feeling better. And it was fascinating when Rebecca Ching was talking about under-functioning as a response to anxiety. And I realized that I had anxiety this week, just typical life, society anxiety. And I started under-functioning. And she said that under-functioning is often, I love facing with humans. She said that under-functioning, she's a clinical psychologist too. She actually does leadership work now, but this woman knows and has studied her shit. And so she said that under-functioning, so some people over-function and they get kind of manic and they move like this to avoid feeling anything. And when when I get anxious, I tend to slow down, and slow down is good for me. But if I slow down too much, I start to rot. And so that's what I was playing with. And she said, when somebody is anxious and they start under functioning, it's a sign of perfectionism. And I was like, what? I don't have perfectionism. Have you seen my mess? Like, I am just kind of not a wing it person. I'm prepared, but I wing it. And I was listening to her, and it really hit that underfunctioning and perfectionism was not about precision. And I had made up that precision, or that perfectionism was about precision, right? So looking right, having everything be perfect. And she said that it's often about a fear of, will it be effective? Will it matter? Those kind of things. And so it was fascinating. I noticed that I love coming live. I love sharing and connecting with you guys. I love going to Zoom calls with my clients. I love going face to face. But when I start under functioning, I kind of go into my little cave, my hidey hole. A lot of introverts do it. Who are my introverts? Anybody else do this too? We go into our little cave, and the cave is good for a while, but there's a tipping point where it's not good anymore. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that one made sense. Like this under functioning subconscious fear of perfection. And it wasn't of doing the perfect live, but it was, oh, it won't mean, it's insignificant, those kind of things. And so what I love is that when I have my 3 things, love on your people, go face to face, or go live. And so thank you, Dawn and Susan, for admitting that. Yes, I hit the tipping point this way too. So Susan, yesterday, my 2 best girlfriends were having I had scheduled the call, and my 2 best girlfriends were going to get together and co-work, and I couldn't go meet them because I had 2 calls, and one of them was a podcast recording. So I couldn't really go to co-working space or to my friend's house to record the podcast, and it was scheduled with somebody else. So this time the scheduling just didn't work out. And I just noticed I felt really sad, and I was lonely, and I had been in the house, and I wanted to spend time with them. So I took myself to lunch. I texted a girlfriend. I figured she probably couldn't come, but I was like, any chance you can leave work and come have a last minute lunch? And she couldn't. That was fine. So I went to lunch. And then on the way home from lunch, I had done that live stream with my client, Kristen, about feeling emotions. And all of a sudden, all my emotions were coming up. And y'all, I pay attention to politics. And I know sometimes I go overboard with thinking about it. And, I go through phases where I take Twitter off my phone and I put it back on, and wanting to be informed and then being overinformed. And so some of that, I can see all the things that were impacting me. But what was interesting is in my mindset, my business care was falling off, right? For some of you, your self-care might fall off. Now, here's the thing. My business care is my self-care, right? So some of you have children, you need to feed your babies. My business is my child. I need to feed my babies. And I enjoy feeding my babies. So the first thing I did was schedule that extra coaching session for my clients, and I loved on my people. I got myself out of the house, even just being around other human beings. It didn't quite satisfy for truly connecting, but I'm working on scheduling that with my girlfriends right now. And then also going live. So I went live yesterday and coming live today with you guys. So your 3 things might be different. You might be able to, and you don't have to do all 3. I did all 3 because I'm an overachiever. But if you can be in an off space and don't judge yourself for being in an off space. This is a huge one. A year ago in November, my coach at the time, John Morgan, said, Allison, what if you didn't judge it? And my brain I was judging myself about something. And if I didn't judge it, my whole world lightened up. So when I'm having off times, and a lot of people are like, Pluto went direct this month or this week, and it's just, whatever you believe. Here's the deal. 365 days a year, somebody is having a little bit of a difficult day. It's human. And so as a leader, I don't want to be the one that gets up here and depresses y'all or worries you or that kind of thing. I want to share with you how I cope with being a fucking human being. right? So hopefully that's helpful. And so for me, knowing my three, and now that I think about this, it's fun. I can actually, so we say soulies know that you're three. Susan, do you know your three? Right? Susan's one of my soulies. Do you know your three? And if you don't, come up with them. Let them be really simple, easy to remember. And you might have three self-care things. Like I said, mine are for business. I do want my soulies to know there are three for business. Like no matter what, they know if they go do these three things, it will stir the energy up and move it forward so that they're not in stuck energy. You can probably do this with your partners, right? So like if I'm feeling disconnected from my husband, I probably can come up, we've been married for 13 and a half years. I can probably, or we've been married for 11 and a half years together for 13 and a half. I can probably come up with three standard things, sex being one of them, that will always connect us back to each other, right? Like that will up the energy if energy gets stale, if energy gets tired, whatever it is. So I just wanted to give you that little concept. Do you know your three things? And this is not a way to rocket you out, to power you up, to force you into hitting a grand slam. But when things get really overwhelming, we tend to go into fight, flight, or freeze, or froth. And if you're somebody who tends to slow down to under functioning, I want to encourage you to come up with your three. And they are tactics, simple tactics. There you go. Love on my people, get outside, ground, and meditate. Exactly. Right? And what I love is that you don't just have get outside and ground and meditate. This is why I had to add the three business ones, because I'll find myself getting outside and grounding and meditate for 7 days and have done nothing to nurture my existing clients or future clients, right? So love on my people, get outside, ground, and meditate. And I think love on my people is a gimme. I'll give y'all that one. I highly recommend you take that right from me. And the concept of love on your people is, if you need a new client, go love on one you already have. It's an energy thing. If you are feeling sorry for yourself, go give to somebody else. If you're worrying about what you don't have, go be the source of gift and giving and helping to other people. And my dad taught me that a long time ago, because my dad also struggles with depression. And I did when I was in junior high and high school. And he was like, the best way I've found to get out of depression is go be with my people. And then the also thing is go do something nice for somebody else. And I find that, so here's the thing about all three of these are actions. And y'all know that I'm very big about the be zone, who we be. And our being includes our spirit and our mind. But without the physical embodiment, without the action, it's just an idea. And so I love the be zone. That's why I can sit on that little thing and meditate or hang out outside. But my client that said, pray while walking. Pray while walking. And so taking a step forward. Yes, we're in prayer. Yes, we're doing our mindset work. But while you do it, take one gentle step forward. And that's what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to encourage you. My glasses are crooked. I wanted to encourage you to come up with your three. And you might want to distinguish. It's interesting in a business context when I tell this with my clients and I say soulies know their three, I'm actually talking about three things to keep your business from stalling out without having to strive or grind. A lot of them obviously will go to meditate, ground outside, just like Susan did, right? And I want you to have something that is forward facing, right? So we can have forward facing things or we have behind the scenes, and behind the scenes is crucial. My business plan is get in alignment and then, but sometimes I'm sitting there like, okay, universe, is the moon going to go direct? But, and I'm just waiting for the universe to come and rescue me. And the universe is saying, meet me halfway. And because if the universe didn't say meet me halfway, my solution 100% of the time would be to take a nap, and that's called avoidance. Well, Susan, I'm the same way, right? And this is what I'm saying is I realized in the past that I can do all the inner work, and it is easier when I take an embodied action step front facing in my business or front facing in my relationship. So I can go walking with my dog and I'm taking physical steps and I'm listening to my good stuff, but it's still my own little cocoon, right? And so when I take a forward facing step and connect that energy with another human being, it sends it out into the universe. Otherwise, it's in my cocoon. I guess that's the distinction, right? So I'm all for sitting outside. I'm all for those things. And I want you to have 3 things that are forward facing, right? Obviously, your self-care, your spiritual care, but I want you to have 3 activities, right? And so everybody's might be different. Again, mine are love on your people. Go be face-to-face in community somewhere, not just online. And then number 3, go live. Go live. And sometimes, y'all, the best lives that I've ever done are the ones that I'm not prepared for. I don't have anything to say. I just want to come and connect with you guys. And when I put the pressure on myself to have something important to say, it's not as fulfilling for either of us. And so just giving myself to be permission and connect here on this Friday afternoon. What's up, KK? So that's what I got for you today. What are your 3? Susan, thank you for your 3. Yes, for me, it's coaching and helping people. Sounds heavy when I'm feeling down, and then I always feel amazed afterwards. Exactly. That's the best. Like, number 1, go give to somebody else. Who can you go do something for? And I know a lot of times when we're feeling off, we don't feel like doing something. We're like, oh, we don't want to give them the shitty part of myself. I didn't want to give my clients the shitty part of myself, but here's what's so funny. When I show up with my clients, they get the best of me. They get the human of me, and they love it. John says, I love the concept of an embodied forward-facing action and step that connects me with somebody else. It takes courage, right, John? Like, I don't know for you guys, inner work, I love inner work, but inner work without the forward-facing embodied step is just a fucking daydream. It keeps that energy right here in this cocoon. And we need to, everybody has the right and the honor and the sacredness of cocoon time, but some of us start to rot in that cocoon. And so that's when we can take that embodied forward-facing action step. We don't have to, hustle. We don't have to make 100 calls, but you take one forward-facing embodied action step that connects you with somebody else. And I guarantee you your energy will shift. And what you'll find is as you take that step, the metaphorical wind will come and lift your wings, right? Because our wings get wet when we cocoon too long. So that's my love for you guys today. I hope you have an amazing weekend. If you're my client, I'll see you on we have a call on Saturday. We have a Saturday call. Kristen's is connect deeply, take care of something I've been procrastinating about, and write. Perfect. Right? And your very first one, connect deeply, can be forward facing. I think that's a missing link for me to explore. I get it, John. Like, it's so normal. I'm really, and Kristen and I had an amazing conversation yesterday about how to feel your feelings. And I know that in the personal development, spiritual coaching and coaching space, hardcore business coaching, sometimes they're missing the inner work and it's all about the do. But those of us in the B zone who end up under functioning can end up, I love my cocoon, and sometimes the best thing I can do is rest. But if I rest too long, I get bed sores, right? And so do many of you. One embodied forward-facing action step. Yep. And so do explore that. And I know what's nice is that because I'm simple and have the same 3, it's not something I have to remember when my nervous system is overwhelmed, right? It's not something that I have to, it's not a problem I have to solve. I can let it be easy. And so like going live, it's hitting one red button. And sometimes I go live in front of you guys, and sometimes I go live in front of my clients, and sometimes I pick up Marco Polo. I told my girlfriend yesterday, I said, I just got back from lunch. I'm okay, but I'm not okay. I'm also, in the glorious perimenopause and menopausal years. And so my emotions are doing all kinds of things that they're not used to doing on regular life. And so it is helpful to take what's, as my clients this week have said, I'm all up in here, to take what's in here and find one way to move it out. One embodied forward facing action step. All right. And so I have a list of 3 that I can choose from, and I want to encourage you to come up with 3 and see how that works for you. Mwah! Love you guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Bye.